You're listening to the 5 Stars podcast, sponsored by Stealth Competitions Limited, exclusively on the 5 Stars website. Subscribe today for content from your favourite Ibrox heroes.
Hello and welcome to the 5 Stars podcast, sponsored by Stealth Competitions. I'm Michael Smith, joined by Barry Ferguson and Ian Durrant. Let's address the elephant in the room straight away, gents. Russell Martin sacked.
Never won enough games. That's now the shame about it. They came with a big expectations, this brand of football, and I'm sad to say we never really seen it. And maybe the players never got the gist of it. But if you don't win enough games at Rangers and you're chasing Celtic and you're so far behind after 7 games, I think it was inevitable he was going to get the sack.
It's a long time coming, to be honest, Barry, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, you never like to see, especially a Rangers manager, losing his job, but what Durrant just says, just never won enough games. There wasn't a connection between himself and the stands, which I think's a big thing. And then I knew with the result on Sunday, it was just unfortunately going to be a battle of time, and the club made a decision late Sunday night. And now the interesting thing is, we keep saying they need to get it right, This is a big call. Now they need to make sure they get somebody in who I believe is going to get the fans back inside. As I said, the big thing for me is, and I'm sure Durrant will agree, you need a connection between the most important people, that's the supporters, and the dugout, and hopefully Rangers get this one right.
Where's it gone wrong from the beginning with Russell Martin? You know, obviously he's interviewed well, he sold himself to the board, and then he's come in, he's brought in many players, and just none of it has seemed to work at all.
It's not rocket science, Michael. You never win enough games. I mean, when you're playing with Glasgow Rangers and Barry Town, and we were fortunate enough to play. If you don't win games, you're going to get scrutinised in every avenue possible. And when the fans start turning, now with the lack of results, we see now that the European ties where it's flat. Now the spirit of the club, now, which we've always had, the spirit never leaves the club, but it was dwindling there right at the end up. You could just tell, going to the stadium, it was flat. Now that was never happened in my time. Mm-hmm. And now that Barry, we spoke about last week, big European nights. The other week here, now the home game, now you could hear somebody shouting in the government stand, and I'm sitting in the main stand and he's shouting at his pal. It was that flat and that empty.
I found that very flat. That European game was just an absolute telltale as to how it was in the park, really.
Well, every European game that I've been involved in as a player, a manager, or as a supporter, it's been absolute bouncing. And unfortunately, that one was flat as a pancake. And that's just no Ibrox. That's again, that's where I think the fans just were disillusioned in terms of how the season was panning out this early as well. And as I go back to it, you don't like to see people lose their jobs, but I just felt, listening to Russell over the last couple of weeks, it was just a matter of time. The club made the decision, and now hopefully we can get something in as quickly as possible, because the next round of games is, I mean, I looked at the fixtures, you've got Dun United, then you've got Brann, you've got the Cup semi-final in amongst that, you've got Roma, Kilmarnock at home, Hibs away, I think. So that there's a tough block of games coming up, and I just feel they need to get the manager in place as quickly as possible.
With the timing of how it's happened, obviously several disappointing performances, results as well. We're into an international break at the moment. Do you think he's maybe been told, right, you've got Falkirk to try and turn this around, and then if that doesn't happen, you're out the door?
Well, we've been sitting here for 3 weeks and we're saying it's game to game. And unfortunately we lose a European tie. And then before them, now you're going to Falkirk. I expected Rangers to win on Sunday. I really did. And unfortunately, when you see the end up, when you see the way Falkirk really dominated in the second half, and we're unlucky not to win it. Now you see things, and this is the ideal opportunity. Now you've got 10 days before the next game, so it's going to be whoever comes in. It's going to be a challenge. But it's a challenge now. Being associated with Rangers is a challenge. So the next man has got to take the baton and then carry it on. And hopefully now we can sit here in a couple of weeks and say, well, let's go again. There's still time. There's only 7 games going, but you don't now. After 10 games, you don't want that gap to be like 12, 15 points. And the way it was going, if they would have kept on with us, there could have been that gap. And not be disrespectful, I know Rangers are not playing well, but the teams above us are not really setting the head on fire. And the gap still, as it is just now, it'll be important the manager gets in and now gets his thoughts and his tactics and his team right. Now he's still, we've not got a transfer window until January, obviously, so he's going to have to turn now what he's got there into sugar.
Do you think the new manager coming in, whoever that may be, we'll get a tune out of these players?
He has to. Plain and simple, you have to. I think there's still really good players at the club in terms of the recruitment of the players coming in the summer. I don't think a lot of them have started particularly well. I think Gassama's the probably one that jumps out at you. So I'm sure if you ask the players that have come in, they'll believe that they can get better. But also, there's a nucleus there that I think are still really good players. And the manager that comes in has to get a kick out of them, because Durrant just mentioned there, can he go even more points behind Hearts? It's 11 points at the moment. Celtic, 9 points. You can't allow that to get any bigger. It's impossible.
Who is the man for the job, Durrant?
Oh, there's several candidates. It's a well sought after job. Don't worry about that now. There'll be top names, but as I said now, Kevin Thywell, the board, Patrick, and now obviously the owners, they don't. Barry's spot on. They'll need to get it right. And as I said now, they've just got to come in and do a job. And you'll get, but see, Barry, he came in last year and what a job he done. And you'll get the bounce factor and a new manager coming in. And then hopefully you'll get the crowd behind it. But they've got to make sure. Now this is now, I know they're all important issues in terms of appointments, but this is a double whammy appointment. This has got to be now set us on the right path to it now. Make, as Big Donald says, make us great again.
Barry, you came in last season, put fight back into the team, showed them what it was like to be a Ranger. Your name's obviously been thrown about the last couple of days. Your phone's probably been going red hot. Is it a job that you would take back?
Listen, I'm just happy with my life just now. I'm enjoying myself. Look, I had a brilliant three month last year. Couple of bumps, which were tough, but you've got to react. And I thought I got a reaction out the boys. But in terms of whoever gets the job, I agree with Durrant. I don't care how poor a start to the season it is. It's a brilliant job to get, and I'm sure there'll be loads of agents putting their clients in to try and get a shout at the job, because it's a brilliant club. Still early in the season, you're still in 4 competitions, remember. I know poor start in the league, I've just explained how many points behind Hearts and Celtic, but there's still 31 games to go there. You're in the semi-final of League Cup, Scottish Cup still to start up, Europa League, we're still in that, albeit a poor start, 2 defeats. But what a job it is to get. What a job.
If you get the call, would you take it?
You're trying your best here.
Of course.
Listen,
Get him in.
yeah. Listen, there's been no call, that's for sure. But listen, all I want to see, whoever gets the job, is just be successful. That's all we want. We just want a winning Rangers team. That's the most important thing. And we want to get the fans back inside the stadium as well and get a real togetherness, which I think's no there at this moment in time. That's an important thing. You've got to have a connection with they 4 stands, because they people inside that stadium, and also the guys who travel away, whether it's domestic or European games, you need them behind you. And how you get that is you get a team that's going to go out on that pitch and find a way, just win a game of football, just win games of football. Doesn't matter if it's pretty, I don't care. You win. That's what it's all about at Rangers.
Absolutely. Some of the other names that have been thrown around, Steven Gerrard's name's been put back in the ring. He knows what it's like. He knows what the club's about. He obviously left us to go to Villa. Didn't do particularly great there. Went to Saudi again. Left there January, I think it was. But again, is a name that some of the fans would take at Rangers.
Of course he would. He's familiar. He knows the club. Along with the other one, Kevin Musk has been mentioned, our ex-player. There's been the boy Doll, Ronnie Doll. Boy Potter just been sacked, honestly, from West Ham. As I said now, all the big names will be linked with the Rangers job. And as I said now, they've got to make sure the infrastructure and the people behind the scenes, they've got to get this right. Because as Barry said now, that if they come on board and the new manager gets, as I say, the bounce factor, the crowds will be back, and then you'll see this different atmosphere again. The gloom will lift, and then if you start winning games, you start going on runs. And as Barry said earlier, now you've got Roma coming up. What a game now for the players in the semi-final cup. Within 3 weeks of taking a new job, you could be a final at Hampden. Big incentive, big massive incentive.
Absolutely. Do you think it's something Steven Gerrard would come back to?
I'm sure, because you see when he speaks about the club, his eyes light up. It's like anybody that's been involved in the club. I get the hairs in the back of my neck standing up when I go through the front doors. still in my role as an ambassador, and anybody who's been at the club and been successful has loved it. And when you hear him speak, he'd a 3 years where it was tough for a couple of years, but eventually he got there in the end and got that 55th title. So yep, I can see why he's been linked, because he was a success when he was here. Kevin Muscat, Durrant just mentioned, is another one. But these guys that I mentioned, you need a big, strong character who understands what the standards and the beliefs are at our club. And hopefully, as I said, the board or whoever's deciding, get it right, because we need to get it right. There's been far too many changes over the last period of years, and that's no Rangers. A manager's normally here for 3-5 years. There's been far too much a turnaround, and I'm sure the board are banging their heads together, and hopefully they'll come up with the right decision.
Talking about big characters, Sean Dyche is another name that's been chucked in as well.
I forgot about him. I know, again, he's worked with Kevin Thywell as well at Everton. Yes, he would jump at it. Now, it's been bad to tell you, you've been out of a job for so long, and now you're involved in a job now, obviously in football. The impetus to get back, you want to get in quick as you can, and I'm sure now, we're talking about Potter, I don't think Potter will get a job, but the first thing he'll be thinking about is getting a job right away. And I'm sure Sean Dyche, now when they see the enormity of Rangers, whether it's got the training ground, the fan base, you name it, what a club, Barry spot on, what a club to just be involved in. Not only be involved in, but manage the Rangers. I've done it for one game, and Barry done it for a few games more than me. And the magnitude, see everything, it takes over your whole everything. I was a week in charge, and honestly, everything. And you don't size the enormity, but we need big characters, and we need also, if you're going to get a manager, a big character, but the players need to be big characters now, because it's the same as been playing the football. Now, okay, the manager's lost his job with his coaches, but the players need to take responsibility. And now, as I said, hopefully we get the bounce factor with a new manager, and then they can go and win games.
It's a collective, but I know the manager gets it in the neck, but the players have to do more, 100%. There's some players that I think are doing well, but when you're playing, you can have one or two maybe off it a wee bit, but we're having 5 or 6. That's too many. So collectively, you've got to take responsibility. I know it's on the manager's shoulders, but also the players have to take a bit as well. You look a wee bit like Sean Dyche. Yeah?
I've got the voice as well.
Got that gingery beard.
I've been dying it.
And a big silver one.
You were on sunbeds?
I got a spray tan.
Oh, right.
Aye, I did. I got a spray tan. Yours is a real tan, innit?
A spray tan.
I know. I was doing a wee Strictly Come Dancing thing, so I thought I'd spruce myself up a bit and get a spray tan.
Class, I'm like different class. Let's keep it football.
I did just do it for the podcast.
You've lost your marbles, man. Right, on you go, fire away.
Listen, what are the players doing just now? Obviously, it's turmoil in the club for the players. You know, some on international duty now. Right. But what's that like being a player when that's going on? The gaffer's been sacked.
Well, they'll be wondering who's
the
going
head
to come
coach.
in, because listen, their careers are on the line. It's about they'll need to go and show whoever comes in that they should be at the club. I heard that they've got a few days off. I think that's the best thing. Just get away for the place, let the club decide who's going to be the manager, and then when they come in, hopefully starting next week, the new manager will be in place, and they need to show that they're capable of staying at Rangers.
What about yourself, Ian? Just that kind of turmoil for the players as well. Just stay focused. And I mean, at the moment, when they're back, if there's not a manager in place, who's taking the training?
No, there'll be people there. There's people there that will do the training, but I think somebody will be appointed in that time. But as I say, that sometimes after what's happened the last over the weekend, sometimes it's good to get away and a bit of family time, and then come back refocused. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of players there now hurting because the manager's left, but there'll be also a bit of anticipation and see who's coming in. And then there'll be players that will I fit in with a new manager or will I not? It's one of these things. So they've got to come back fully focused on what they're going to be doing and hopefully get in the team.
As a player, did that give you a new lease of life when you were playing under a new manager to go out and prove yourself to them, to make sure you get in that team? Or did you just approach every game the same?
You've got to be professional. Probably the biggest one was when Walter come back in the second time. He got a lift where the team that I was playing and were low on the snake's belly. We just couldn't. We just weren't performing. And Walter just came in, and Durrant was part of that coaching staff, and it was just basic. But they understood the club. They got the club, and there was demands put on us. And if you didn't match the demands, well, you weren't going to be at the club, and that's the way it has to be.
You were not around the club at that time. Le Guin had suspended you or whatever. Walter came back in. What was that conversation like that first time you went back to see Walter when he came in?
He asked me to come in 15 minutes before we were coming in for pre-match, and basically just said to me, right, you're back in the team, you've got the handband back, go and make sure you win the fucking game.
Good. How did you feel about that?
That was just basic. That's it. There's no, it wasn't sitting down and having to go through things. He knew that the situation that was an issue, and it was just bringing me back in and just go out and do your talk with your feet, basically. And he set us up in a way that we were just strong. We competed, we fought. That's the Rangers way. And do you know what? See if we played good stuff in amongst that. That was a bonus, but it was just about winning games.
What was that like for you, Durrant, coming back in the coaching role with Walter, Ali and Kenny?
Brilliant, great. No, I was delighted. But I was involved in the youth, and I still had a good number there. But to get involved in the first team, but Walter was brilliant coming in. But as he said, no rocket science. You just get your best players playing. Now at that time, obviously Barry had to fall out with Le Guin, which was now totally out of order for the previous manager. But Walter came in, and that's now, he knew now for us to be successful, you need your best players, and he was our best player at the time. And then he brought a master stroke with Big Ugo Egeog and Big Davy Weir, the spine of the team. So with a great goalkeeper, two great centre halves, him in the middle, and you get Boyd and Miller up front scoring goals and spine your team. Then every other bit's fitted in, as he said. Nothing, no tactical, no formations. Just now go and play the way Rangers play, and it just we go out, then we go on a run, then we go on a run, then you're winning games, and then everything's now rosy. It could have went the other way, not worked, but now Walter being Walter, knew how he knew he was brilliant. Now seeing things and see how things are going to adapt, and he was brilliant. And he knew as soon as he came in, I need my best players, so he's back in.
Would you get back into coaching, Durrant?
No, too old now. I like going watching, but now it's a young man's game, and now I see a lot of things. I'm an old school, and there's nothing now. I'm a pen and paper. I see a lot now, computers and all that. I get to see a computer score a diving header right enough, but that's another thing. And these things, but it's a young man's game, and they go away and they're PowerPoints. Now it's for me to go and grasp back and get out of the PowerPoints. I can set things up. I can still enjoy the coaching. I can still, but it's a young man's game now in terms of now computers and PowerPoints and everything goes with it.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
There's still a place in football for old school mentality.
I think so.
Of course there is.
That's what's missing, in my opinion.
I think that's what the
too
players
many
need.
Too many buzzwords, too many analytics, and,
Yes.
and going on about stats, and I get it's part of the game, right? But what you need just football. For me, is a simple game made complicated at times. That's my honest opinion.
Yep.
And what we need at Rangers now is just simple instructions, a team set up that's ready to go and fight for the badge.
I think it's only fair that, if players deserve a ball in, they deserve a ball in, and they've got to take it, and hopefully it kicks them on in the second half. When we played Hibs, I was up in the PA booth, and I've gone to the toilet at half time and hear the Hibs manager going through them, absolutely going through them. I thought, that's actually good to hear. I hope our manager's doing the same, even although we're winning, to try and get more goals out of them.
I think there's a time and a place. You've got to, at times you've got to be a bit calm, but other times you've got to go through them and let them know that it's not acceptable. That's just the way I believe it should be. It's not about being nice and well liked. If you see something that's not going right, then you need to approach it in a certain manner, and I think there's still a place in the game for it.
Is it something you did when you came into the club last season?
Aye, there was a couple of games where I probably went. My staff had warned me, just watch what you're going to do here, but no, I just had to let loose a wee bit, and they see a different side of you, but I wasn't going to accept being second best, because Rangers have been second best for too long. I was watching in the stands and seeing things going not so well, and when I came into the job they were still there, so it was my job to try and I raised that out them and get it out them, and sometimes you just I had to let loose. And did it go overboard a wee bit? It did. But that's just me. That's just the character of me, and that's the demands that I want to put on people.
It worked for you though. Was it the Dundee game?
Aye. That was a rough 10 minutes at half time.
You'll have
I
experience.
had to make changes. I had to let them know that, listen, Dundee actually ran over the top of us. And I'm not being disrespectful to Dundee and Tony Dock, who I think is a very good manager. But Dundee just looked a far better team than us, and just looked if they wanted it more than us. I spoke the night before, I spoke before the game about what game we were going to expect, and what did we do in the first half? Never turned up. And they get told in a certain way at half time that this is not going to happen here. You have to make changes, and I better see a reaction. And thankfully you get that reaction.
You both have experienced that with Walter. What was that like to be on the receiving end?
Like Lassie, he never, there was once or twice, but he never really raised his voice a lot. But when he spoke, you knew, but he didn't have to. But there was a few times he went now berserko, and rightly so. But the wee man is spot on there. Now the word acceptance, I know what his standards were as a player. Now, I haven't seen him as a kid, and I know the standards he would demand for his players. And our players are nowhere near that standard where they should be just now. And I'll go back now. Players, now I spoke about, players need to take a lot of responsibility, because now there is a standard, an ethos at this club, and we need to get back to these standards. I touched on it earlier, the spirit. That spirit never leaves you. Never leaves you. And we need to get that spirit back. We're going to be now beating teams. And I fully expect now, hopefully, new manager, Touchwood, comes in and he brings it, sets the standard for Glasgow Rangers.
See another thing, I mean, I'm sure Durrant will agree. See when you were a player, you go out, and our mindset was the first 10 minutes you have to really start well, and see if you don't, the crowd will grumble a wee bit. But you need to go and set a pace, you need to set a standard out there, and see when you do that, the noise comes for the stands, and that gives you that extra boost, you know what I mean, and that's where you get a connection. As long as the fan base who are inside Ibrox and away from home, wherever they are, if they see you giving 100%, they're with you. See if they see anything less than that. That's when they start to not be happy, because it's impossible to play well every game. You can't play you can't be 10 out of 10 every single game. But it should be a given that you've got to run through brick walls for that jersey.
Run about.
Get about the pitch. If you're playing against, make sure you're getting the better of your direct opponent, and then collectively as a team, you're winning the battle. And then if you win the battle, more often than not, what happens? You win games. And I don't think we've done enough of that.
I think that's something the players have struggled with.
Of course.
You know, the 50,000 fans breathing down their neck, a stray pass or whatever, the moans and groans, but it's something you've just got to get up and dust yourself off and prove them wrong.
But it's when you do make a mistake in the present climate, just now that the fans are on edge. It's how you react. Now go and fix it. Now see if the fans see you now going to try and fix things or make things better, then they'll get behind you. Now we spoke about the European tie, how flat it was. Now see, about 2 years ago we were playing a far better calibre team in Europe, but it was a crowd. See the last 10 minutes, that noise. Now they got some of their games over the line at the crowd, and that's what we need to get back to. And Barry's spot on. See if you get the four fans now chanting and cheering. What a difference it makes, and you'll see players will grow, and that's just now I think there's a few that maybe just can't handle the atmosphere just now because of the way it is, but you've just got to accept it, but you've got to make it better, and hopefully as you say now we've been on here, and I hate this word hopefully all the time, we've been using it for the last 4 weeks. Hopefully the next 10 days something's going to happen to make this place better.
Right, go and be aggressive on the front foot. That's when you get the energy for the stands. That's when they start going mental, and that's when you get your support. I just not seen that enough.
Is that how you dealt with it as a player? You know, if you've maybe made a stray pass or whatever.
If I made a stray pass, which I made quite a lot out the pitch, or did they teach my teammate? Do you know what I done? My first thought was, right, go and get the ball again. Because then I would think in the stands and be like, well, he's not scared to go and demand it. And
that's
then maybe
one thing you weren't, son.
You go and maybe get away again, but you've got to go and show that bit of steel. That, aye, right, do you know what? I've gave a ball away. I've had a few grumbles in the stand. Right, do you know what? give me it again. I'll show that I've got a bit of balls about me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I need to say more in this Rangers team. They need to have more players with more balls.
100%.
That's why he's captain for club and country, because he knows now. He knows the pitfalls of playing with Rangers. Now, don't we keep seeing this word now. A few of the players now, there's an atmosphere, but a few players are scared. If you show any of that sort of thing at Ibrox, and you have no chance. Go in and embrace it, go out and enjoy it, and try and win games.
Going back to the technology side of the game, Barry, obviously it is a big part of the game nowadays. It was a massive part of Russell Martin's game. You can see the goal, and he's looking at the laptop instead of getting up off his seat to go and shout at players. What was your thoughts on that?
What's my thoughts on the stats in the game now?
Well,
I wasn't big
managers using them.
I wasn't big into stats. I've been honest with you. The only stat that I cared about was at the end of the game. We'd scored more goals than the opposition. That was it. And listen, I get that people look about possession. You can have 60-70%, but if you actually look at it, you're not doing it with the ball. It's around the back. You know what I mean? I get it, it's a part to play, and I did use analysts, I did use them at times, but I didn't overdo it, because if you start doing that, it starts playing with your mind. I just had to try and set a team up that were going to have a right good chance of winning the game and create chances, get the ball into the box, you know what I mean? That's more important to me than saying that I've had 70% possession. I would rather have 30% and win a game of football than have 70% and drop 2 points.
Do you think the overcoaching side of it, the technology side of it, was possibly the demise of Russell Martin?
No, that was a big part of his game. He came with that. Now this formula where he used all this stuff. Now the stat stuff, and you get the perfect opportunity. If you lose a goal or something happens, you can go on the wee laptop and watch it right away. Now with the boys in the stand, and they program it right away. But your eyes and your ears can tell you now when you lose a goal. Now your eyes can tell you if somebody makes a bad pass or somebody drops a runner, and your ears will hear you because the crowd will be getting your pelters. And maybe, as I said, now you compensate things with, do you put too much under Walter and Graham Souness, and I don't know Barry now he worked under Dick Advocate, who was master tactician, but it was all bullet points. There wasn't a lot of now information. It was just now who you're up against. Make sure you're up against them, you're playing against them, you get the better of them, where they are at corners and free kicks. But minimal. Now, as I said, now it's a different game now in terms of analysts now, or the sports scientists, everything. Now you get the replays, and it's no. There is a place for it, but as Barry said, if you start now, your head will be like a toy shop before you know it. In terms of now you're maybe talking about a player dropping missing a header, and then before you know it, where's your positional says where now and it becomes a bit more expansive.
See, in terms of information, I noticed when I went in, we made a point of getting them 3 bits of information with each player. I think sometimes you can give them too much information and you could see their heads all over the place. Sometimes, just as I said to them, give them just the key points that you want to get for them individually and then collectively as a team. And we found that worked better than over battering them with information, and then they start to worry and they start to panic a wee bit. I just found that worked better for us last year.
I suppose it depends who the player is as well. I suppose some players can retain that information.
You're right, there's some that can take it in and others that don't take as much information in, but obviously yes, you can work that out pretty quickly who can do it. But I just felt as a group we didn't over-analyse the opposition. We didn't over-analyse what we were going to do. We just gave them key factors and what we wanted to see for them, and we felt that worked better.
The likes of that, you can see the goal, you see the manager looking at the computer. Do you not want to see a manager getting up off the bench and shouting at the players, getting them geared up to get that goal back?
Yeah, exactly. But maybe the first, now he'll hear his coaches behind him, and maybe they've spotted something and they'll catch the manager's attention. But the first now, when you lose a goal, is now you've got to gather your thoughts again, because you don't want to be losing the game right away. And I just feel as though when we did lose goals, there seemed to be sort of panic mode in the team in terms of now their level of possession. And sometimes you can't go on too much about it, but your main focus should be, okay, right, we've lost a goal, right, settle, steady the ship and stay in the game.
So we're looking forward to a new manager coming in. Obviously, a big deal of getting the backroom staff correct as well, which I think is something you did, Barry, when you came in for that short period last season with Doddsy and Neil McCann. Just how important is it getting the backroom staff right as well?
Yeah, and Alan McGregor, and a lot of people say it's a pal's act. Look, I keep in contact with them, but I don't speak to them every week. I just felt they were the right ones to bring in, and I just wanted people who knew the club, who knew the standards, the expectations, and I just felt that was lost. And I'm talking about within the full club, and I just felt as well when I came in, I had to change a few things. I wanted like Durrant's back as an ambassador, and Bomber and Dukey and all former players. I wanted them to feel comfortable and run about the place again. You know what I mean? I think it's important that players see ex-players who have done so much for the club and maybe even have a wee minute's chat with them. I just think that helps. But I do believe that you need people. I know I've heard some people say, no, you don't need that. You can go with a foreigner or somebody else for elsewhere. No, I honestly think you need people who have been in and around the club, who have won stuff, who knows the pressures that come with being at a club like Rangers, because I tell you, it's 24/7, non-stop, and you need people who have been through that can help players and other people run about to understand, because I do think some players come from different leagues and don't understand what it's like up here, because it's a goldfish bowl, and you know, it's like every single day in the press and the media, TV, radio, whatever it is, you're speaking about Rangers, how poor they've been or how good they've been. You're under the microscope all the time, and I just think it's important that you have people in and around the club, not just in the coaching staff. I think part of the furniture to help people within the squad, the playing squad.
Whoever comes in as manager then, Ian, how important is it, you think, that they get someone that knows the club inside out, maybe in their backroom staff?
For me, it's imperative. Now, Barry said now, the boys he brought me, Doddsy, Neely and Griggsy, multiple winners for the club, know what the club's all about, and we keep talking about now the standards of the club. I think it's very important. You need somebody now who knows now, and you'll need somebody because of a new manager coming in. Maybe we don't know Steven Gerrard. I don't know so many players if he does get the manager. But if there's another manager outside Steven Gerrard who doesn't know now the players, your next port of call is the coach who knows now all about the players and how they set up and everything else, and he can get the information and get it really. But whoever comes in, I would always have somebody involved in the club who knows what the club's all about. Because now, as I say now, mostly players, ex-players that are coming into the coaching now, they've won a few things with Rangers. And his backroom staff were second to none. They were great, and all good Rangers men as well. And that's the main thing. And they knew what the club was all about. That they knew what they were coming into, and their motto was to make things better, which they did. And they go to Park Edinburgh. Now Barry said there was some games, but that's a get, because now he inherited a wounded situation in terms of players. But if you can't tell me he never made Raskin, Diamondi, Dessers, Igamani better players, then that's what he done, and he made it a better group, and you could see it, a better group who were enjoying playing football.
Is that something you maybe consider, Barry, going back in as a coach, you know, being that Rangers man that we're talking about as the backroom staff?
Do you know what, the only thing I'm interested in is Rangers get this appointment right. I'll be honest with you, I've not even thought about it. Obviously you see the manager's lost his job, but I just want the club to make sure, because 123 days, it's not a lot of time, and I feel for Russell. Listen, it's tough when you see a manager lose a job, and you could see it was affecting him, and it's tough. So he's been taking out the situation. I just hope now the board are going to bang their heads together and come up with the right solution, because it's tough just now. It is tough. Going back to games, I'm back at the games, and Auntie's back at the games, and the atmosphere round about the place just isn't Rangers. We need to get that back, and we need to get that back quickly as possible. And if we do get that back, and we get the right appointment and the right people beside them, then listen, we'll go up the way.
Who would be the man for you, Durrant, then?
I would love to. We spoke about it before we come on. Steven Gerrard would be an obvious choice. Obviously now he knows the club. Kevin Muscat, people, but the people now. There's top candidates there. But if I would, I'd like to see Steven Gerrard come back. Now, as I say, he knows the club and what the club's all about. and get back to Barry. He would find it hard to get a coaching job anyway because he's got these suites to now hosting a Saturday the Barry Ferguson suite. So he'd be too busy doing that. But now there's got to be names. You see names brandishing a bit all over the place. But you see now, I'm not a big one for social media, but I see some ex-managers put on now some stuff about the club and all that. So
You're never off Instagram.
I know, but I know. Honestly, it's my kids that put that on. But yeah, you see now, I seen a wee bit of Steven Gerrard today. He put a wee bit on. You don't know if it's now tongue in cheek.
Just playing the game.
No, it was nice for you touch. But again, so the social media will be a meltdown in terms of now. But there'll be whoever comes in, and there will be a lot of top, as I said, top candidates. Just wish them all the best.
Who'd be your first choice, Barry?
Just the ones that Auntie's mentioned. I can see why Stevie G's been here before. I think Muskie's done a really good job over in Japan. Sean Dyche is a guy who knows how to set up a team. So there's good candidates out there. They just need to make sure that, well, the club need to make sure they're right for our club, because it's a unique club, Rangers. It's not like any other club. You're as I said, you're under the microscope and you're under pressure 24/7, and there's expectations to win every single game. Look, I know that's impossible, but you need to get a better shot. That's been happening over the last number of years.
New gaffer coming in. How does he get the belief back in the squad? How does he get the belief back in the fans and get everyone on side?
Win games.
No.
I know, it's that simple. He'll help. Now, whoever manager comes in, or head coach as we call it, he'll have his philosophy, he'll have the way he wants to play. But being end off, if you're winning games, then you'll have everybody back on board.
It's a tough job.
It is a tough job, but it's an
job.
amazing job to get. Again, you read online that, I don't know if that's a good job, where you see the way the fans are or whatever. Listen, I don't care what MD says. That's a brilliant job to get, and if you get it right, there's no better place in my opinion. And I know for a fact, when they do appoint a new manager, the supporters will get right behind them. And it's then your job to continue that, to make sure they're behind you all the time, with winning games, but having a team that's going to run through brick walls for the badge. That's it.
There's one man that's not been mentioned here that you both know very well and is doing pretty well at the moment, Derek McInnes.
I think, again, you'd love to see McInnes. McInnes is another wee Rangers fan, but he's doing a great job at Hearts, and I think he's got a great relationship with the new owner there, Tony Bloom. And I think now, with the club, if the club would be able to pay a compensation package, which you'd have to for Derek, so he'll not be equated. He's been mentioned as well, but I think Derek is just enjoying life just now. But if he did come calling, I'm sure he'd think about it. Well, I know he would. He'd jump at it, I think.
Do you think he'd come? Would he be a choice for you?
Aye, well, he's been at Rangers. I think he's if you look at his managerial career, he's had success. I think Aberdeen have never been the same since he left there. I was surprised when he took the Kilmarnock job. I know Kilmarnock are a big club, a good club, but down in the Championship, that's pressure straight away. Gets him promoted, gets him in Europe, then he goes to Hearts, and I know we're only 7 games in, but he's sitting at the top of the league in merit, because they've been the best team in Scotland. But Durrant is right, he's got a good owner. They've got good investment now with Tony Bloom and the Brighton and the analytics thing. So I don't know whether Derek's just settled there or whatever, but you never say never. He's a very good manager in my opinion. I come up against his team my first game, and they were a tough team to play against, physically strong. You had to outwork them. They battered us for the first 25 minutes. I'm talking battered us physically. We had to make a few changes, and then the second half we had to tactically change a wee bit as well, just to get the better of his team. But no, he's a manager that I've always rated, but I think he would be expensive because he's on a long-term contract at Hearts.
He was very nearly at Rangers before. It obviously wasn't the right time for him. Sort of pulled out at the last minute. What do you think would be different now to come to Rangers?
He's a bit more mature now. He knows the pitfalls. I think he was hurt the last time. We got the job circumstances, but now he's never really divulged, but I think he was hurt because I thought at one point it was over the line. He's going to be the next manager of Rangers, and then it never happened. So I'm sure, as Barry said, he's went away and he knows the game inside out. Derek, as I said now, great coach, comes across well, speaks very well, does a bit of punditry, obviously with the Europa Cup, and he always spoke a lot of sense. And as I said now, he's now coming in. He knows what the club's about. If he was, but Barry's. But I think it would cost a lot of money to prize him away from Hearts.
That's the thing. Most importantly, he does know what it's like to be a Ranger.
Aye, again, I keep using the same words. He knows the demands and expectations, and I think that's one of the key things that the new manager needs to have. He needs to understand what he's coming into. He's coming into a place where you're expected to challenge for every single trophy domestically, and we've not done that enough. Let's be honest with you. But as I said, still so early in the season, you're still in 4 competitions, including the Europa League. Who wouldn't want the job? I think you'd be mad if you didn't want it. Because if you get it right, what a place it is. Because you've got that stadium to play in it. It's, when it's rocking, it's the best. You've got an unbelievable training centre. You've got everything you would want. You've got still some really good staff running about the place. So it's a job I'm sure many people would love to have.
How quickly do you think this appointment will be made, Ian?
Well, we've got 10 days to the next game, now the international break, so I'd be surprised if it's not before the next game.
Aye.
I think now that they'll be doing their due diligence in terms of who they want to recruit in, and I'm sure they'll whittle it down to so many numbers, and then see your top 5 candidates, then they'll hopefully come at an agreement. And as I said, now the board come in for a bit of stick there as well, and there's obviously the owners and the board, so they'll be wanting they're wanting to make sure now that they appoint the last manager that never worked, so they're under a bit of pressure as well to appoint the next manager, because now we need to make it right. So I'm sure it'll be done in the next 10 days.
Same for yourself? You think
has
it'll
to
be a
be
quick
before the
decision?
Dundee United game, because as I said, there's a block of games coming up that it's a tough schedule, and you want to get in as early as possible. You want to look closely at the squad and then come up with a formation and a solution to start winning games of football as quickly as possible.
You're watching the 5 Stars podcast, sponsored by Stealth Competitions. I'm Michael Smith with Ian Durrant and Barry Ferguson. It's your 5 Stars podcast, sponsored by Stealth Competitions. We've got some viewers' questions now. One of the questions that's come in, a goal that another player has scored that you would like to have scored yourself. One of Coisty's.
No, he scored a few. No, it was David Cooper's goal in the Driver Cup final, where he flicked it out of the head about 4 Celtic players and then put it in the bottom corner. And I love Cooper, and that goal, it's behind the goal as well. It's not really a good camera shot, but it just shows you the way now flicked it over and then executed it. What a finish. So sorry David, but I'd like to take that goal off you, son.
It's a good goal. It's a good goal.
It's not a bad one, aye, absolutely.
It's a good goal to take.
You got one, Barry?
I believe it or not, Peter Lovenkrands, the cup final, 3-2, he scores in the last kick of the ball. Everybody says it's a Peter Lovenkrands final.
Yep.
Cracks me up.
Was it, but you put one in the top corner.
I know. So he's
Where's finishing that?
So I would have liked to have. just get that, because you know the way. Do you know why? It was a great ball for Terry, Neil McCann. Peter Lovenkrands done brilliant, heads it down and in. But the great thing about that goal is they go up, they take centre, and they all drop down, and the whistle goes, and then bang, we've won it. So that's one that I would
Go for that one.
Aye, I'll go for that.
Can't beat that on a CVC them there, because they'll be running up to put the ball down right next minute. Boop.
That's it. Game over.
That's it. Aye.
Brilliant. Another one, talking about pre-match playlists. Well, what music do you like to listen to first, and what was your pre-match playlist?
When I was playing, it wasn't such a big thing, but we sort of have the TV on, but if there was music on, it'd be, if Coisty got hold of it now, as he normally does, he was a music person, it'd be the obvious now, Bon Jovi, AC/DC, Metallica,
The Boss.
The Boss, something like that.
AC/DC.
Oh, is it? Is that AC/DC? And he loved all that. If David Cooper did go out, they'd be sort of like Soul Train or something now. He liked to be a bit chilled, and thank God Gaza never got hold of it, because that could have been anywhere, honestly. Could be Limp Bizkit or anything, honestly. But as I say, it wasn't really a big thing. I think more in the last few years it's become now a bigger thing, the dressing room. But under Graham Souness and Walter, wasn't a lot of time for jukeboxes.
Apart from Dukey himself. What,
I'm a bit of a raver, mate. I'm a bit of a mad dance man. Aye.
I like to hear that. Good.
Aye.
You like some of my tunes?
Aye, your tunes are they're all right. They're no brilliant, but they're all right.
Tan, you know what I mean?
Aye. So I was a bit of some of them would put on a bit of this rap and all that, you know what I mean? Calm down a wee bit, you know what I mean? Put a bit of dance, a bit of scooter or something.
Well, you've obviously experienced a bit of scooter.
That big blondie guy.
How much is the fish? So obviously that changed from you as a player to probably what you hear in the dressing room now. I mean, I can't imagine there's
some of
anything
this, even last season I was coming in, I was like, I can't come in here. I can't handle this. Some of the nonsense that they were playing. And some of them wouldn't like it, they would have their earphones, but I didn't like the earphones in. I liked them, a bit of music and going on talking, and I didn't like it. The first one I went in, everybody had earphones on. What's going on here? Eerie. Get a bit of music on, get talking to your teammates, get them fired up. But aye, some of the music I was listening to was, it wasn't great.
Big Dessers liked a dance tune. Actually, his goal song, he requested his goal song. It was like a big Dutch anthem or something like that he'd requested. It was an absolute banger. There was a few of them had good taste. Some of them had poor taste, bad taste.
Did the players actually pick their...
One or two. We put a message out the start of the season and get them to send over goal songs, and I'll make wee edits up. So some of them are good. Some of them come in, you just say, oh no, I can't get that one because they're mince.
Come on, let us.
Well, even get back.
Who's the worst one? The squad.
It would have been this. There wasn't many came back actually from this squad. Well, the people before Dessers left, that was a big anthem from him.
Came back to enough goals,
exactly. Kenny Miller actually back when I started, he'd asked for some Foo Fighters song off some album. It was like the slowest song you'll ever hear. And I'm like, you can't play that when you get a goal. But there's a few good ones. But then obviously the fans make songs up for the players as well. So, you know, Nico Raskin, Summer Dream of Love, which is just an absolute banger of a song.
So
and
who
the fans
came back
love
this
it.
season?
It was only one or two. It was Dessers, Cantwell when he was there before, long before he left as well.
What did he do?
Well, actually, he put in it was some R&B number, but then we changed it because the fans made up the Wonderful Days song for him, Charlie Lownoise. So we ended up just changing it because if you get better reaction out the fans for it, do you know what I mean? You want the stadium to be bouncing when a goal goes in that's going to be bouncy anyway, but you do want a big anthem. For the fans to bounce along to.
There was only two players that got songs. It was McCoyster Haley scored every week, so they were the only two that requested a song.
Another question come in. What's your favourite Rangers jersey that you've ever played in?
So you've got it now. Your first one is a special jersey. Whenever you get your first jersey, but I took a real liking to the Adidas one. We won the Champions League run in '92. When it came out, I loved that strip. But
you scored in that? Was that the Marseille goal?
I don't want to go on about that. Right,
all right.
The Marseille goal?
That was a lovely strip. That seemed, because Marseille had a sort of similar, and it seemed now the teams that were responsible for Adidas at that time. But it was a lovely. See the blue? It's a lovely blue. And looked lovely.
The Marseille goal, he mishit that.
He mishit it.
But that could end up nice.
I was going to say the penance, the Marseille game. You gave it to my old man.
You know.
And I've got it.
It was all embroidered.
Aye.
Yeah. They actually gave us 3 before the game, and for some reason I got one in. But I already had one, and a wee clip was at the game. And there you go.
Where is it?
In the house.
Oh, you got it in the
Aye,
house?
still got it, aye.
Good,
Still got
lovely.
it. You also gave him an expensive bottle of whiskey once that I drank at a party in my house.
There's a nice whiskey
When
for
you
you.
were,
Well, I was over 18, aye, but with a party at the house.
I remember that. There's a nice whiskey, Cliff. Keep it. 2 weeks later, rattled.
He came in, it was filled with water.
Your sister, wasn't
it? What's the favourite jersey you've ever played
my
in,
favourite
Barry?
jersey, remember the one with the wee squares and the wee grandad collar and the wee button?
Yeah.
Aye.
I loved that. I loved
Cracker.
that strip.
86, 87.
Aye, that was my
I did with all that.
my favourite one. And I liked the away strip, the white one with the wee thin strip. I think it was 84, 85.
Yeah. C.R. Smith.
Aye.
Yeah.
They're my favourite ones. Some of the strips lately has been alright, but you can't beat the ones in the 80s, early 90s. I love the ones.
You had 3 strips. You had a blue one, a red one, and a white one.
Aye.
Exactly.
That was your 3 strips.
Now there's so many of them,
Yeah.
isn't
There'd
there?
be a badge, but that size. Used to weigh a ton. That.
They're proper strips back in.
Yep.
proper strips.
Definitely. Also, football boots. What's your best pair of boots you've ever played
I
in?
loved the Nike Tempos. And I was sponsored by Nike at the time, and they you go down and they custom fit your boots. They were brilliant. But I was a big fan. Later on, when the club went to Adidas, I loved the Copa Mundial, the old Copas.
Old school.
Yeah.
Superb. For you, Barry?
Nike Mercurials, similar. They were obviously Nike. I was sponsored with them, and I had the same pair of boots for 3 years. More, same
Is
pair
that
of
right?
boots.
That's how good they was, Barry. Played with a pair of slippers on.
Jimmy Bell used to take him to the cobblers in Shettleston because they would be falling apart. They had nails and all sorts in them. Aye, so I've kept it. I've got them. When Jimmy passed away, I gave Jimmy them when I just couldn't wear them anymore because they were knackered, and I gave Jimmy them. And when Jimmy passed away, his family gave me the boots back. Nice touch.
Very nice.
Great.
Was that a superstitious thing, having that same
Aye,
pair of boots on?
I just didn't like changing boots. I had a pair of training boots, and I had a pair of match boots, and I just, you know when you put them on, they're like, as Durrant mentioned, they're like slippers. They just feel right.
Yeah.
I was devastated when they were just done. That was it. Jimmy had been to the cobblers, I don't know, 10, 15 times. Different bits of leather on them. Aye, they were brilliant pair of boots, and I've got them still in my.
It's the same old thing that always happens. See, when you get a cracking pair of boots, right? But see now your Nikes, Adidas, your Pumas, they'll change it next year now to accommodate now, and now the fancy colours and all that. I love black boots. I didn't now see the different colours, but Barry said the Mercuricals, the Tempos, they changed them again the next year, and they weren't the same. You know what I mean? Bigger tongues and more right and all that. It felt as though you're putting on a pair of Doc Martens instead of a pair of boots. They were that heavy with all the signings and all that. But
That's how I kept them, because Durrant right, every season they would change them, make them slightly different, and the new ones just didn't seem right. So Jimmy just fixed them for me. Or when he couldn't fix them, he would take them to wee cobblers in Shettleston.
well, we Dodie, we just remember we kept man. But Coyce was gone for the golden boot,
Yep.
the Umbros. And Coyce used to run with outside his foot, and they were always busting all the time. And we Dodie, because he was scoring goals, we used to get him patched every 2 weeks. And I swear you ought to have seen these things. But he was scoring goals with them, and I think he still got them. But it was like a patchwork, now a quilt. It's like patchwork boots, and there was another hole, and another hole would appear. And we Dodie go down and no, we can't. Oh, you need to fix that. There's only 2 games to go, and it was nice superstitious, but. When you a good pair of boots, you don't want to give them away.
Speaking about superstitions, did you have any?
No.
None at all?
No, I used to. Ian Ferguson was the worst. See, you couldn't sit next to Ian Ferguson in the bus, because see, if you seen a magpie, you had to see another magpie, right? So he used to sit in the bus like that, right? Then he would put his left shank. Oh, Fergie was. Oh, now his strip was tucked out one side, but he'd start with his left sock. Oh, he was a nightmare. It's just, I was like, I'm getting the tap and the shorts here. Just keep it. I'm putting that on. That was my philosophy. But there was a few now. They wear things and they kiss things, and now they've got things and they go through. No, just go and play. And you see Coyce now 10-3, and he's still not put his comp suit. still not done a warm up.
Did you have any superstitions other than the boots, Barry?
My shin guard, I put my left on first, and I kept the same tuba grip for the first day of pre-season until the last game of the season.
The tuba superstitious.
No, the tuba grip you put on. I mean, the
Aye.
shin guards are tiny, so I would put them on, but I would keep the same tuba grip for the first game of pre-season until the cup final.
Derek used to watch David Cooper. Now you have the tie-ups. Now the tie-ups.
That's right.
So Derek would get Coop's tie-up until it broke. Then he'd watch the next game. Then when that one broke, the next game Derek would get his tie-ups and put it on again. He used to have his tie-up.
Right. Brilliant. Love it. Listen, guys, thanks for joining us on the 5 Stars podcast this week. You're about to hear a bit of brilliant competition with Graham from our Stealth competition sponsor.
This week's competition is a signed Ian Durrant print. It's framed as well, and it could be yours for just 99p. Head over to the site stealthcompetitions.co.uk and grab your tickets now.
You're listening to the 5 Stars podcast, sponsored by Stealth Competitions Limited, exclusively on the 5 Stars website. Subscribe today for content from your favourite Ibrox heroes.